Hey guys, is that Alex?
Yes?
Alex West. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
So help you, West Family RV Adventures?
Yes.
Is this the vehicle that you drive?
Yes, it is.
Has it been unavailable for over a week because of a rear hub issue?
Yeah, longer than that.
Has your dad fixed it today?
We'll see.
We'll see. Let's go get an ice cream and find out. It's all back together. What do you say?
Okay.
All right. (2016) Mitsubishi Outlander GT 3.0 all-wheel drive. Changing a rear hub for the second time in less than 3 years. Getting an Aeroco P1773, I believe it is. Speed sensor error. It's throwing ABS error codes and everything. It's because of a rusty hub. These vehicles are famous for it. So I think that's the issue. Here we go. First thing, we're going to slack off the wheel nuts before I jack it up. We'll get this sucker jacked off the ground a few inches, and then we'll put a jack stand down for good measure. There we go. Hopefully all set. Let's get that tire off. Alright, we got our tire off. Got 5 lug nuts here. Even have a box to put my toys in. Third week of June in the state of Maine. Most daylight of the year this week. But, you know, conventional wisdom says I should have this thing done well before dark. But, you know what? I don't usually roll that way. So I'm going to keep all my toys in one box in case it's dark when I wrap up. Next up, get the caliper bolts. I think those are 14 centimeters, I think. Millimeters. You know, they tried to teach me the metric system in the 5th grade. Didn't go well. 14 millimeter caliper bolts. I'm going to take those off. Okay, get the caliper bolts out. Now we'll pull that caliper off. Probably stick a screwdriver in there to wiggle it loose. And that did the trick. I haven't got a lot of play with those brake line hoses, but I don't want to damage them, and I got to get that caliper out of the way. So I'm hoping I can use a couple zip ties, 1 or 2, and fasten off to that spring just to kind of secure my caliper while I'm doing the hub. That should do the trick. Got it out of the way just enough. Now I get two more 14 millimeter bolts to remove my bracket. Okay, so we'll do that next. If you're kind of a girly man like me, you haven't put the time in at the gym, you might need a hammer. Give a little tap. That was just what the doctor ordered. Gentle tap for each bolt. Nice and loose. We'll get those off. Okay, looking at those 4 bolts, the smaller ones with, for the caliper cover, and the larger, thicker bolts are for the caliper bracket itself, but they both take a 14 millimeter wrench. And out comes the caliper. I guess those pads have a little more meat left in them. I'll spray all that down good though before I put it back together. So my rotor nice and loose. Just pull that off gently. No banging to get that off. That's not stuck. That's a plus. Okay folks, next up is this axle nut. I don't know if you can see that. I got it facing down. But there's a little dimple here that helps keep this secured on. And after you tighten up your axle nut to the proper foot-pounds, you take a little screwdriver or a punch and you just punch it in slightly. It's just a little security there. So I need to go find either a skinny screwdriver or a skinny punch, see if I can get that push back out, and then I'll loosen up that nut. So stay with me now. Probably a good time to go ahead and pop some popcorn, cold glass of Coca-Cola with plenty of ice, maybe a bathroom break, and I'll be right with you. So I've got a screwdriver in here, and I'm just gonna kind of put a little pressure and see if I can pop out my indentation. If not, then I'm going to stick a punch in there. We'll get it out. We'll get her all rounded out and loosen up that nut. This is a 32. I'm going to use that on the axle nut. Ooh, maybe it's a 30, but we'll try this 32. Hopefully we'll be all set. And I forgot about this action. So I'm going to need a little pinch bar to hold those bolts in place. One moment, please. Zippity doo dah, zippity yay. My oh my, that worked fine. Oh yeah. Okay, get that off. Okay, my axle nut is off. Okay. All right. So my next move are my 17 millimeter bolts at the rear of the hub. You can't see those from here. So that's my next move. I don't know. I've got a jack stand in there. I'm only half on my jack. I think I'm going to put a bottle jack in there and on the other side before I start whaling on those 17 millimeter bolts. Added a bottle jack, just a little extra precaution. I don't trust myself much. I've got a bad history. Okay, so here's my 17 millimeter socket. And I'm going to move to the rear of the hub area and see if I can get those 4 bolts out. So back on the project, here is the speed sensor, ABS speed sensor. This goes right flat against the hub of the vehicle. We'll talk about that. This is the problem area, problem connection. I think the sensor's fine. I think the problem is a rusty hub that we're going to remove, but we'll talk about that. So I've got this out of the way, just goes against a clip. Now I'm starting to remove the 4 bolts in the rear of the hub, and the issue is space. When you're not jacked up in the air like at a garage, and you can't get manual tools and put a lot of muscle with extensions and torque, so I'm having a hard time. So you have to kind of rely on air guns. Well, this air gun of mine that I've had for a while, I don't have quite enough space with that gun, so I just went out, Harbor Freight tool, and upgraded, and I got a stubby. See? So see how much shorter it is? So hopefully I can get my bolts off and get this job moving forward again. Hey folks, you do these projects that are for the faint of heart. You should have seen, I just ripped my wrist right apart. Probably ought to have stitches, but my daughter needs her car back probably more than I need stitches, so I'm gonna keep this thing moving. 3 or 4 bolts out. Alright, I've got the 4 bolts, 2 there, 1 there, 4th one there, out of the back of the hub. Okay, axle's moving. So now we're going to try to pull that off. I do have a hub puller, so if I need to, but alright. I put my puller on there and because I didn't want to damage anything, and I just realized, wait a minute, I'm replacing this hub. I got a brand new one right here. I think I'll just get the hammer out. Hammer, power, hammer, power, hammer, power. Okay, so this is the new hub. This is the inside of the vehicle. This little bracket here is where that speed sensor, the rubber speed sensor, goes into. Just kind of gets held in under pressure. And there's a magnetic signal that goes into the car computer system. This is the one I just pulled out. When I pulled it out, this was kind of left behind on the shaft. But what happens is they get rusty, and then that magnetic signal doesn't really work well. So I guess it's a terrible design. But other than that, I don't know. So I'm hoping that's the issue. We'll go ahead and put everything back together and see what we got. I have my new hub on. So I've got the 4 bolts in. Now I'm going to try to torque them each to 70 foot-pounds. I got those all torqued to 70 foot-pounds. 1, 2, 3, 4. When you're not up in the air like at a garage and you're working off the ground, off your lawn, it is tight in there, especially trying to get a torque wrench in there. You're gonna cut yourself all to pieces. Just sprayed down both sides of the rotor. And now I'm gonna try to put on the brake bracket. Wish me luck. So I used a pinch bar to tighten my axle nut. The specs call for 199 foot-pounds. My torque wrench that I use for my travel trailer only goes to 160 foot-pounds. That's the highest torque wrench I have. So I went all of that and I tried to go a little bit more. So hopefully I'm all set. Now I'm just going to pound in right here to secure that axle nut, and then I'll go ahead and move forward with trying to get this clip put together. So I think we're closing in. I've got this axle nut on. I knocked in my little bend here to keep it secured. I've sprayed this assembly with a brake part cleaner. Same with my speed sensor. I'm not changing the speed sensor, it looks fine. If you want to change the speed sensor, which I hope it doesn't come to that, you have to take the rear seat out. You have to get to it from the rear cabin. It's a lot of extra work. Anyway, I'm going to be attempting to put the flat side of this speed sensor against the new hub, and there's that little clip I showed you, and it's really tricky, but I found a way to do it with vice grips, holding the vice grips so I can get a hold of it instead of using my fingers and kind of pushing down on the vice grips. So I wish I could film that. There's just no way. I need all hands on deck and both hands available. So wish us luck. It's getting dark as predicted. You're just gonna have to trust me. The speed sensor is where it belongs, behind the hub. Behind the hub, way down. Time to put the tire on and take it for a test ride. Alright, we've got the tires on, obviously, all torqued, 80 pounds per lug nut, and we're out driving. I erased the error codes, code reader, and taking a little test drive to see if the problem solved. So far no errors, but it's been an intermittent type issue. So it wasn't a total failure, I don't think, of the speed sensor. I think it just was a bad magnetic connection to that ring on the old hub, I'm hoping. So we're going to go get the family. We're going to go for an ice cream. If I don't get any error codes, I'll consider this a success. We'll report back shortly. All right, folks, you're probably on the edge of your seat waiting for the results. We're back from our ice cream and test drive, and we got good news and bad news. The good news is the rear left hub that I fixed is fixed. No more error messages. The bad news, now we have an error message on the rear right hub. The good news, I bought 2 because I was going to change both of them anyway. So project's halfway done, but I think we're on a roll. And you might ask, what the heck does fixing a hub in an SUV have to do with RV adventures? Well, the way it works in our family, if something needs fixing, Andrea says that travel trailer doesn't leave the yard, and there's no RV adventures until what needs fixing is fixed. So she's softened up a little bit. We're half fixed, and we're still going to head out this weekend. So we'll see you all down in Lubec, Maine. Thanks for watching.